Murders at Karlov Manor previews and spoilers are done. And today I am going to be sharing with you my top 7 picks for Murders at Karlov Manor competitive 60 card format cards. So we are not talking about Commander in today's video, but I will be sharing with you my top 7 best or favorite, however you want to word it, cards for 60 card constructed formats. I'm Les Alex. If you enjoy these kind of content, comment down below. What are your favorite cards from the set? I would love to hear from you. What are some of the cards that you think are going to perform in competitive formats? And of course, subscribe, hit the notification bell icon so YouTube actually tells you when I post a new video. I already have the first one on screen, as you can see. Let's read it real quick for those that aren't watching. Insidious Roots is a 2-mana, which is black and green enchantment, uncommon, that says create creature tokens you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Pretty decent. Turns all your creatures into Birds of Paradise. Whenever 1 or more creature cards leave your graveyard, create a 0/1 green plant creature token, then put +1/+1 counter on each plant you control. Why is this good and why is it here? First off, turning all your creatures into mana dorks is awesome, but specifically, I am looking at this card for Modern. The Asmo food deck, I just played against it at my local F&M this past weekend, and holy smokes, that deck is absolutely nutty when it builds up a board. Combos perfectly with Oval Chase Daredevil, because when it's put into the graveyard and you make a token, it returns back to your hand, and then you make a token with this. I don't know. It's a long shot. Colors, red, green, and black are those colors. Green and black is that deck's primarily colors, so I definitely think that Insidious Roots has a chance of making it in Modern. All right, next up at number 6, we have Reenact the Crime. This is one I talked about in a previous video. You can go check that out right over there. It'll be up there somewhere. Reenact the Crime is 4 mana, 1 with triple blue, instant for a rare. Exile target non-land card in a graveyard that was put there from anywhere this turn. Copy it. You can cast that copy without paying its mana cost. So in Modern, you're going to be able to get rid of something, discard something, maybe Thoughtseize yourself. Maybe in Pioneer, you could big score something, get a card out of your hand, a big card. I'm talking about Atrax. I'm talking about Emrakul. These are the heavy-hitting cards that you would want to be discarding. You could hit Omniscience, Enter the Infinite. I mean, the possibilities are endless with this one. I'm not sure exactly where this fits. I saw that somebody on Twitter suggested to me that this could go in Pioneer Lotus combo, and yeah, I mean, I guess it could. But Reenact the Crime, I'm not saying this is a slam dunk of a card, but to me, this is a super interesting card, and I want to brew with it. I think a red-blue kind of deck could work out in Pioneer. Maybe some kind of creativity deck. Maybe you slot 4 of these in as well. It could be really fun. Magnum Opus is a card that, if you get to cast it on turn 6, could be really, really powerful. I don't know. I'm really excited for this card. I'm excited mostly for the brewing potential. Obviously, this card doesn't have a immediate and direct home for it, but I am still super stoked to try and test this bad boy out and get it to work, because it's just such a unique card. Being able to cast things like Emrakul and get those triggers, whether you're talking Emrakul Aeon's Torn or the other Emrakul. And of course, you have Ulamog and all the other huge Eldrazi's. I'm super stoked for Reenact the Crime. All right, next up, we have Intrude the Mind. Yeah, another blue card. It is 5 mana, 3 colorless, and 2 blue for an instant mythic. reveal the top 5 cards from your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles, put that pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Then you get to create a 0/0 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Put a +1/+1 counter on it for each card that was put into your graveyard this way. So in Standard, if there's ever going to be a stone cold stunner of a control deck, I think this is the way to go. This is kind of Factor Fiction, a reverse Factor Fiction at home, because your opponent gets to pick what you get. But with that being said, I still think this could be a solid draw spell for a Standard control deck. I'm really excited. It's mythic. Anytime we see a card that is mythic, that at first glance kind of looks like, well, is this really a mythic card? It gets some red flags going off for me, because anytime that happens, typically it means it's a pretty decent card. Look at History of Benalia from back in Dominaria. Intrude the Mind. I'm really excited to see if it will find a home in Standard, and I'm just really excited. After all, guys, this is my list. You knew there was going to be some blue cards in this list, but let's move on to the next one. All right, next up, we have Breakout. And this card is a card I will likely never ever cast, because it is a Gruul card, and your boy doesn't play much Gruul, but let's take a look at it. It's really strong. This is 2 mana, red and green for a sorcery, which is an uncommon. You get to look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them. If that card has a mana value of 2 or less, you may put it onto the battlefield. But wait, there's more. It gains haste until the end of turn. If you didn't put a card revealed onto the battlefield this way, put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So this is literally a Collected Company chopped in half in Gruul colors. So in Pioneer, I definitely think this could see play. And even in Modern, there's a Domain Zoo deck that doesn't have much percentage in the metagame, but I think you could play this card. I definitely think you could play this card. This is a card that, to me, as a typical control player, I'm scared of. This card looks really good. You could hit Ragavans, you could hit Tarmogoyfs, you could hit all sorts of fun stuff in Modern. In Pioneer and Standard, obviously, there are plenty of hits for this as well, but I think in Modern, in that deck, we could see this doing some absolutely nutty things. So Breakout is at that spot. Let's move on to the next one. All right, next up, we have probably the coolest named card in this set. We have Pick Your Poison. Let's take a look at it. It is 1 mana for a sorcery, which is a common. Choose one. So it's a charm. Let's see what it does. Each opponent sacks an artifact, or each opponent sacrifices enchantment, or each opponent sacrifices a creature with flying. Now, in older formats, I think this gets way better. You can kill the One Ring in Modern. You can get rid of Leyline Binding in Modern. I mean, this thing kind of does it all in Modern. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited for this one as a sideboard card for basically any green deck. Being able to hit the One Ring and binding is super good. And obviously, there's a litany of other things you can hit with this. It being able to hit creatures with flying isn't nearly as relevant, but you will pick that occasionally. Pick Your Poison at number 3 on today's list. All right, next up at number 2, we have Archdruid's Charm. This is triple green, so 3 mana for an instant rare. You get to choose one of these 5 options. It's 3 options, but it's sneakily 5. Search your library for a creature or land card, reveal it, put it on the battlefield tapped if it's a land card. Otherwise, you get to put it into your hand, then shuffle, or put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It deals damage to its power to target creature you don't control. So a one-sided fight you just get to prey upon right there. That's awesome. And then the final one, exile target artifact or enchantment. So yes, this technically has 5 different modes. You can either search up a land, search up a creature, put it in your hand, put a +1/+1 counter, prey upon another creature, and then the last 2 are exile an enchantment or an artifact. This card is going to be really good in Pioneer, I think. I think this card will be really, really good. Obviously, the Stone Cold Stunner deck that it goes in is Mono Green Devotion. You can go find Nykthos with this. That's insane. But also, you can go get Lotus Field. You can go get Lotus Field. So I'm not sure. You let me know, Lotus players. I've dabbled in Lotus. I've played it. I have it in paper, and I have played it. But I'm not sure if you want this. I definitely think you still want 4 Sylvan Scryings over this. But I do think that Lotus, this is worth trying in Lotus because you can go grab it. Obviously, exiling artifacts and enchantments is just nice utility to have. So I think this is a lock, 1000% for Mono Green Devotion. But I'll be interested to see if this sees play in Lotus combo in Pioneer. And of course, at number 1, what else? You knew it was coming. No More Lies. This is the new counterspell, the new mana leak, actually, for 2 mana, a white and a blue instant. It is an uncommon. You can counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. That's just straight up mana leak. And then, if it was countered this way, exile it instead of putting it in the graveyard. And in Pioneer specific Azorius control, this card is going to be an auto 4 of. I am so stoked for this. It's very good against Arclight Phoenix. That deck is